Hey, what's going on, buttholes? Dick Burns here, and I am answering 3 questions that I see in the comments of a lot of gameplay videos, especially, but also just in the comments of some videos. So one is, why do people shuffle the cards in their hands? There's actually a magic card called Stop That, because this is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on forever. So if you want to Google that card, it's anytime someone audibly flicks a card, you can return it from your discard pile to your hand. So there's a few reasons. One, it helps them think. Just something mindless. That's why fidget toys were such a big thing. Something as mindless as this could really just, for some reason, put your brain in the mood of, oh, I can figure this problem out now. Another thing is, so people don't get stuck in one train of thought. I picked a few random cards here, and, something someone might do is put them in ink order, right? Well, let's say you draw a card for the turn, and you're going into your third ink, and you just knew for a fact you were going to play this piglet. Okay, you just knew it for a fact. And then you draw a 3-cost Diablo. But for some reason, you're just stuck on playing this piglet. You knew it was the plan. When you drew your opening hand, you knew it was the plan. So one thing someone might do is draw a card, reevaluate things. So that's another one. The third reason is your opponent doesn't know what you drew. So, just like I was alluding to, a lot of people, especially if you played cards like something like spades, something like that, you might have your hand sorted in cost order at all times. And this was especially prevalent in the beginning of the game when a lot of people were just Disney fans, and this was their first card game ever. They would just draw a card, and it's like, oh, it's Be Prepared. Let me just slot that into the back of my hand. And then someone that's actually paying attention to the game might know what you drew basically every step of the way. Like, oh, it's turn 3, drew my card, putting this in here. Oh, maybe they drew a Maui, something like that. So it's not a bad practice as long as you're not, being super annoying with it. Number 4, people want to fit in. It's just a fact of life. People want to fit in, and they see other people doing it. I know I never did this when I was just going to, Friday Night Magic. It wasn't until I started going to Grand Prix, PTQs, stuff like that, and seeing other, high-level players doing it, that it kind of just became a learned habit. And it feels good to do. And then number 5, it's annoying. I said you don't want that to be a reason, but inevitably it is a reason. I'm sure there are people that are just your whole turn. They're just staring at you, flicking the cards in their hand. Because guess what? It's locals. There's 2 booster packs on the line, along with their fragile ego. So that's one thing. Next question. Why do people drag the card that they drew across the table? So if you watch people play online, you probably see this more. But people will take the top card of their deck, drag it, and flick it into their hand. And there's a real reason for doing this too. What if I go to draw for a turn and, this card is just stuck to this card? Maybe it's round 8 of a 9-round event. You've been using the same sleeves all day. Everyone's sweaty. We're all gamers. So 2 cards are just accidentally stuck together. What's going to happen here? You're going to call a judge on yourself. You're going to get a warning for looking at extra cards. Not that big a deal, as long as it's something that's a legitimate, mistake, and you call yourself out on it. So an easy way to avoid that is just I'll draw. Oh, didn't look at this one. Goes back on top. So it's that simple. It is a pragmatic thing to do. It's not just to annoy you and waste time, I swear. And then the last thing is going to be, Why do people table shuffle their cards? And the quick answer is they don't. No one does, because they're actually table counting. So this is just going to be a quick example of what your opponent could or could not be doing. So I'm going to just, this is 40 cards. This is my daughter's deck. It's all vanillas. A good way to teach math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. Just for demonstration purposes, turn half the cards upside down. Alright, and I'm just gonna, I'm your opponent. We've never met before. I pull my deck out of my deck box. Hey, how's it going? How'd you do last round? Oh, you lost in 5 minutes? Cool, I know that you're playing hyper aggro or you played against hyper aggro. Let me ask you more questions that could distract you and give me more information about the deck you might be playing. Because I'm such a nice guy. Yeah, it has been sunny lately. Global warming must be real. So, just pick up my cards. Now, I want to make sure it's extra shuffled, though. We're all having fun. Just table shuffling. Pick them all up again. Doesn't matter what order I pick them up, it's random, right? Here you go. Would you like to cut? Alright, let me draw my hand. Inkable, or non-inkable, inkable, inkable, non-inkable, inkable, non-inkable, inkable, non-inkable, inkable, inkable, non-inkable, inkable, non-inkable, non-inkable, inkable. See where we're going with this? So, obviously not all of your opponents are doing this to you. In some games, this is very common practice and is seen as shuffling. In reality, it's not. This should be done at most one time at the beginning of the game to make sure you don't have cards missing. Maybe you had the same sleeves as your opponent last round, cards got a little too close to each other, you picked up an extra one, you left one. Maybe you're using ink tokens and you left your cards that you inked on the side of the deck. Didn't shuffle them into your deck. You're accidentally presenting a 50-card deck. It's to prevent that. Just because someone does this doesn't mean that they do not also have to riffle shuffle or just kind of mash shuffle. You know, even when they do the whole, you know, double table shuffle thing, you'll see them then do the hand over hand, which really also does nothing. So, yeah, those are 3 questions that people have had that are not really worth their own video, so I'll put them all together. Hope everyone enjoyed.